A very good morning, guys. FII sold almost 4,206 crore of Indian shares yesterday. Biggest cash sell we have seen in last 10 days. The Nifty closed down just 5.75 points. 4,206 crore goes out of the door and the index does not move. Somebody absorbed it completely, and when you find out who and what they did with the other hand, yesterday's stocks looking like selling. This is the Tanmay Edge. You are listening to episode 83. I am Tanmay Kurtagoti. Let's go. So, starting with yesterday first, FI sold 4,206 crore in cash. In the same session, they bought 1,994, almost 2,000 crore of index futures and 1,308 crore of stock futures. Nifty future alone 2195 crore bought. They sold the shares and bought the futures back. That is not an exit, that is the same bet moved to a cheaper seat. And the short book proves it. FIs came into yesterday short 2,62,712 index futures, almost at the highest point. They closed short yesterday at 2,49,000. So they covered almost 13,000 contracts yesterday. The short is shrinking for a second straight session. It has now come down in 2 days in a row for the first time in the last 15-20 days. Meanwhile, they are long 5,34,167 stock futures, and they added to that long the share, short the index. That is a hedge book, not a bearish one. People keep reading the headlines that FIs are selling and calling it fear and it's plumbing. Now the part that I owe you. Yesterday I told you Sensex pins at 77,100 to 200. It closed at 77,187, 13 points below 200, and I told you to own protection because it was cheap, not because fear was rising. Fear fell again. Both landed. But I also told you something that was wrong, and I am correcting it on air. On Wednesday, domestic institutions bought only 705 crore against 2928 crore the day before. I called that a 76% collapse in support under this market, and I read it was sentiment. Domestics losing conviction. It was not sentiment, it was mechanical. A very large domestic fund book was closing that week and the money was parked. Yesterday, with that out of the way, DIs bought almost 3,000 crore, 2,986 crore, straight back to normal. They took the entire FI selling and did not blink. One session of low domestic buying was a calendar, not a mood. I read a plumbing event as a conviction event. That is an error. It is logged and the support is still intact. Now the option chain, and this is where today gets interesting. Because option writers just did the exact same thing they did to me last week. Nifty 21st July expiry closing data is what I am looking at. At 24,000, call open interest fell by 7,47,000 shares. The sellers walked away from 24,000. At 24,100, they added 7,55,000 shares. At 24,150, they added 11 lakh, 10,79,910 shares. Biggest add on the board. Read that slowly. The people selling upside abandoned 24,000 and rebuilt 100 to 150 points higher. Same fingerprint as the Sensex last week. When a writer covers a strike and rewrites it higher, he's telling you he no longer thinks that the level caps the market. The support did the same thing, guys. Put seller added 14,32,000 contracts at 24,050 level and 5 lakh contracts at 24,000 level. They stacked the support up at 2450. So both sides moved up. Resistance up, support is also up. That is a market being walked higher by the people who get paid to be right about where it stops. So two numbers that matter today, guys. 24,200 strike. That strike now carries 92 lakh calls, largest on the board by a distance, and that is your resistance. It is not a close. 24,100, that is where the whole 21st July change settles if nothing changes. And the PCR sits at 0.83. So for every 100 calls open there are only 83 puts. So call is heavy. Read alone that says heavy. Read next to where the calls actually moved. It says something else entirely. Gift Nifty is trading at 24,108. We are opening on top of 24,100. The market is starting the day sitting exactly on the number the chain wants it to finish at. The trade the crowd is putting on right now, and who is taking it? Reliance reports today after the close. Roughly 8% of the index. It closed 1296.60, up 0.08%, dead flat, doing absolutely nothing into its own result. Look at the stock options in the participant book, guys. Retail clients are net long 11 lakh stock calls, and they added to it yesterday. Pros desk are net short 5.5 lakh short stock calls, and they added to that as well. The crowd is buying lottery tickets into the earnings. The pros are the ones who are selling them those tickets. So, but on the index, the pros are doing the opposite. Pro desks are net long 1,25,000 index calls, up about 14,600 in one session. FIIs are short 2,18,000 of them. Pro long foreign short. That pairing has been the strongest bull tail in this framework all year. So the pros are short the single stock story and long the index. They think the tape holds and the lottery ticket expires worthless. That is the very specific opinion they have paid for it. Sectors, and this is the fourth straight day of the same split. IT closed up 0.67%, Wipro up 1.77, HCL Tech up 1.66, TechM 0.77% up, and Infosys and TCS both added a little over 0.5%. Financial services excluding banks down 1.17%, 3 advances against 27 declines. Capital markets down 2.4%, worst on the broader level. Realty down almost a percent, 0.98. Bank Nifty down 0.3% to 57,582. 4 days now, this is not noise anymore. This is regime. Money is leaving financials and going into technology, and the big banks results land over the weekend. Volatility has closed to 12.88, down 2.92%, under 13 level. The calmest this market has been in the entire run. The straddle on Tuesday's expiry for 24,000 strike is trading at 270 points. That is market paying for a 270 point move by Tuesday and no more. Here is the tension, guys. 12.88 volatility and 8% index weight reporting after the bell, and 4 big banks after that. The number lands when you cannot trade it. Friday is the positioning, Monday is the gap, and then Saturday, Sunday we can get some news on Iran war as well. So we open around 24,110, and what's the plan? So the plan is we are opening above the flip level, about 24,100. The desk dampens every move and the tape drifts towards that 24,100 level, and we close almost flat. Below 2450, I think today we are going to close below 24,000. They amplify it and the moves gets faster, not slower. That line is the whole day. So fading those rallies into 24,180 to 24,200, that is where those 92 lakh calls are sitting, and they'll defend it, and that is your resistance. So buy the dips not at 24,040 or 24,050 levels. We are going to buy it below that 24,000 levels. And this time I am giving you a branch because 3 episodes running I handed you a dip level that triggered on a gap and you got nothing. If we open above 24,120 and never trade back down, the dip is void. Do not chase it. You wait for 24,180 to 200 hit, fade or do nothing. If we gap below 24,000, the dip is also void, that is the amplification zone, and 23,900 should hit hit in where the stop losses should be out. A level you cannot reach is not a trade, it's a story. Lose 24,000 on real volume and put sellers who stacked those 14 lakh contracts at 24,050 are the ones getting run over. You do not want to be front of that. Protection into the weekend is must, guys. Not because volatility is rising, it is not, it is because the volatility has fallen to 12.5 because it is cheap and calendar is not. Reliance tonight, bank Saturday, the gap is Monday and you cannot hedge it Monday morning. Have a great Friday, guys. The FIs did not sell, they changed seats. The domestics never left last week. The writers moved both lines higher, and still the sentiment is bullish, but we are waiting for the broader sentiment to pick up. And the pros are selling the crowd its Reliance lottery ticket. Trade 24,100, not your opinion. This was your Tanmay Edge. If you found value in this, guys, please share it with one trader friend who needs it right now. Subscribe to Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Amazon Music and listen it live on rupeecase.com where it streams first. And give a rating, guys, and a review if you want to add something to this podcast. See you all once again on Saturday.